Is there such a thing as a privacy bill of rights, or should there be?
Well, our European colleagues have the General Data Protection Regulation, which is, in effect, a Bill of Rights that sets the rules for when and how and where information can be disclosed. So you might call it a privacy Bill of Rights. Do we need a federal, and not just Europe, almost every major democracy, and even non-democracies, China is almost done passing privacy legislation, but almost every major economy in the world now has comprehensive privacy legislation. What did we do in the US? We took a sectoral approach. So yes, we regulated government. And then we said, well, your health data, that needs to go to an insurance company. The doctor's got to be able to pass it around to, another doctor, the hospital. So data has got to really be portable when it comes to health. And we need some rules to make sure that it then doesn't get sent to, someone who's going to use it against you, right? So we have HIPAA to regulate the health sector. And then the banking world, we said, well, wait a second, we don't want the banks telling anybody how much we have. So we created a law called GLBA, Graham-Leach-Bliley, and it regulates financial institutions. And then people started getting turned down for credit, and you didn't know why, and you couldn't do anything about it. So we created a law called FCRA, for fair credit. And then cops would go to schools and grab your school record, or tell the school that you were a criminal, and that would be on your record and you wouldn't know about it. So we created a law called FERPA. And then kids, we all are worried about kids. So we created COPPA. So we have a vast number of sector-specific privacy laws, more than you can imagine. But we don't have a general one, right? So does Google track me with cookies is not today regulated by the federal government. The states are moving. California just passed a major privacy law. How did it start? Not with the legislature. It took a rich real estate developer who got it in his craw that something had to be done. He financed the ballot initiative, right? As you know, in California, you get enough signatures, you can get it on the ballot. And there's always dozens of different things that people in California are voting on. Now they're going to vote on, whether they want to recall their governor. A lot of states don't have that sort of initiative, but California did. That scared the legislature into passing legislation. The developer then decided he needed to do more. And so he actually then put a ballot initiative that enhanced that legislation. So California now has a pretty reasonable privacy law, and every company does business in California. How do you avoid California? Virginia just passed one, and other states are working to do so while the federal government debates. Now, this is a consumer privacy piece of legislation. This will deal with, so if you live in California now, for instance, and you look at the bottom of an app, or you look at the bottom of a website, there's a little link there. It says, do not sell my information. That was never there before. Any app that sells your data now has to put this little link there. And if you click on the link, you're supposed to get information that says, well, here's what we have. Now, a lot of companies already have that in their privacy policy, but now there's some very specific detail. And you have the right to say, send me what you have on me, exactly, show me that file. Oh, and by the way, delete it. I don't want you to have it anymore. Please terminate it. So that's what California gave. So it's not comprehensive. It doesn't cover everything. It mostly lets companies collect what they want, but it says you have some opt-out rights. You have some rights to not sell. Virginia went a little further. Virginia said, yeah, all that. But if it's sensitive data, if it's health, not the HIPAA health, right? If it's medical information, it's regulated. But if it's health, now what is that? I don't know. Maybe that's what your Fitbit might know about you, yeah. Or maybe, so we need to figure out what health means. What I buy in the supermarket, that loyalty card,
right,
that tracks my eating habits, that is a deep medical record, right? I mean, you can see I'm eating fatty stuff, cholesterol, dairy, right? How often I buy, terrible things. Do I eat a lot of red meat? But is that a health record, or is that just the supermarket kind of wants to know, something about shopping and advertising? So there's going to be a lot of work to do, but Virginia went a little further, and you have to opt in for sensitive categories of data. So yes, we need a privacy bill of rights, but the legislators have woken up and they've said, big tech has a lot of data about us. Google has a lot of data about us. Facebook has a lot of data. We need laws that make sure that individuals have rights to, to push back, to opt out, to require that permission be asked. And then finally, we're worried about AI, right? AI, everyone's worried about AI. AI is going to destroy the world. AI is going to save the world. We're competing. And so now we're regulating AI on top of data protection. So Europe several years ago did this, broad data protection law. It kind of already covers AI, at least when there's personal information involved, which is very often, but they're still worried that maybe it didn't go far enough. So they are currently launching a giant effort to have laws for ethical and responsible AI. And the US is probably going to follow sooner than later.